So I just watched the 8th episode of the Orville, Into the Fold. In this episode, Dr. Finn is going to take her 2 sons off to a recreation planet, and our Isaac, our science officer, robot, data-like character, goes along with them. Something goes wrong. They end up crashing on a planet where they've kind of been thrown off into a strange location, so they're difficult to find. They're separated, so Isaac has to kind of watch the 2 kids while Mama tries to get back to them, and they all try to survive in the midst of all this. Overall, for me, this is probably my least favorite episode since the original, and I appreciate what they were trying to do. Full credit for what they were aiming for, and it wasn't the execution was horrible. I'll get into all that. Just of the directions they've gone, this was the one that was kind of the least kind of interesting for me. Now, before I go into my full thoughts, be sure to put your thoughts down below in the comments section. What did you think about it? All the different reasons. Let's have a nice, fun discussion about it down there. Also, just so you know, if you didn't hear this, the Orville was renewed for a 2nd season, so we're going to be getting more of the Orville. I did a little review somewhere up there about my full thoughts on it. Needless to say, as a fan of the show that does these reviews, I'm excited. I think that's great news. Fox has a bad reputation for not renewing good shows, so the fact that they renewed this one is very good news. So let's talk about this episode. So one of the things that the Orville has done a good job of, a very good job of thus far, is that what they like to do is give different characters besides Ed Mercer, our Seth MacFarlane character. They like to give other people the spotlight and give them full episodes dedicated to our full cast of characters. And so they're kind of making their way through it. So we're on episode 8, and half of the main cast has had an episode that very heavily shines a spotlight on someone beside our lead character. And so here, the 2 that we get a light shined on are Finn, our doctor, and Isaac, our data character. And just so you know, this will be full of spoilers if you, for some reason, didn't know that, but there will be tons of spoilers as I go through this. And that's one of the things that makes the show really great, is that it's sharing the spotlight. We're getting background history about everybody. But in the case of this episode, it's kind of the episode's greatest liability, in that for me, these are some of my least favorite characters. The doctor, the part of the problem I have with the doctor character is that she's played by Penny Johnson Jerald, who I just know her from 24. That's the thing. I mean, 24 seasons 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite seasons of television ever. And she's also in season 3, and that's a good season, not a great season like the first 2. And she's one of the villains of it. An amazing job. But so as I watch her, just the way she acts, it's not like she transforms into totally like, wow, I don't even recognize her. I just see her and she acts just close enough that she reminds me of Sherry Palmer, this horrible, horrible person. And so, and that's not any sort of negative on her or anything. I don't mean it like that, but just watching it, I just can't get that out of my head yet. And so for her, it's not a character that brings kind of a charisma and a charm to lead an episode for me at this point in time. And I want to be won over it. And I say all this, I hate to have to be negative on her, because I don't mean to, because literally the background for why I can't see her properly in this role is because she did such a great job in one of my favorite shows of all time, in 2 of my favorite seasons of one of my favorite shows of all time. And so that's kind of a problem with it. And then with the Isaac character, what makes him work in other episodes is his interactions back and forth with strong characters that we're invested in that can kind of bring some of the humor to it. And in this case, it's the doctor's 2 sons that I'm sure we've met them before. I'm sure they were in a previous episode, but they're not main cast. It's not like the level to which it's not like they brought in A-list child actors to play these characters. And so you're talking in the category of child actors that are not main cast, and they're bouncing off of a robot, and personality wise. that's where I'm coming from on this episode. For me, it was like, when I think a lot of almost every, even the pilot, I probably read, that might be the best way to phrase it. As a story in and of itself, with the performances, the way it was written, I don't really have problems with that. I'll get to that in just a second. But as for just because of the characters involved and the amount of screen time and the specific mixes of them, it might be the least rewatchable episode of the show thus far. So 8 episodes in, this is the one I'm least likely to rewatch. The other ones, even some of the weaker ones, the pilot being a weak episode, with the plot of it, I'd be more inclined to rewatch that one as compared to this one. So those are my negatives. Let's move on to the positives. Once again, they found a way to tell a new type of story that feels very Star Trek. It's the analogy I keep using. They're like covering my favorite a cover band, covering one of my favorite bands, and they just keep playing new song, going through all the hits. And I mean, this one just once again felt like, in a good sense, that good nostalgic sense, so many great episodes of Star Trek where something like this happens, where a shuttlecraft crash lands on a planet and they're trying to survive while stuff's going on all around them. And so I mean, they're finding ways to have new stories, different types of stories. As much as I wasn't thrilled with this episode because of the characters we were with, I give full credit for they're sharing the spotlight. And when you do things like that, sometimes it's going to hit harder than other times, and just the inherent nature of it, you're going to like some characters I don't like, and I'm going to like some characters you don't like. And so when they do this kind of shine the spotlight on people, that's going to affect which episodes I tend to like a little bit more, which ones you tend to like a little bit more, less, and however which way you're supposed to say all that stuff. It's like 2 a.m. at the moment, so I might be saying stupid things. There you go. I think those are my big main takes on it. The story itself worked. The specific people they put in that story, I wish there'd been some different ones in there. Some of the ones I resonate more, have a little bit more charm, humor to them in and of itself. Like our Isaac character can be funny. The leg cut off joke stuff is really funny, but it's funny based off of who he was playing against. And I don't think we got it as playing off 2 kids. I don't think we get that as well here. So yeah, all in all, there you go. That would be kind of my take on it. I appreciated, like, at the end of it when they're about to die, from people signing it in, the mother's still like, use a stun. Just because they want to kill us doesn't mean we want to kill them. She didn't say anything like that, but that sort of idea that there is a worldview guiding them. There is a morality that's shared, that they're striving for something better, and I think that's a good thing. That's what makes this show work. So not a bad episode, not a bad, just of the, like, my least favorite, the one that I'm least likely to rewatch of the episodes thus far because of the characters involved. That's my take. How about yours? Tell me down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your take on it, your thoughts. Maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. I don't really know. It's kind of the fun part doing some of this. I just don't have any idea what other people feel about these episodes as I watch them. This is just purely, I sat there, watched it by myself, and giving you my take, and we'll figure out in the comment section who's right, who's wrong, who's crazy. Yeah, tell me what you think about it. And if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, hey, like the one you're watching right now, as well as ranking videos. I got one coming out tomorrow where I'm going to rank all 17 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in the span of just 10 minutes. That's going to be exciting. I'd love it if you check that one out. But the key thing is, I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies and TV with you. So join me in the comment section. Let's have a lively discussion, and thank you so much for watching.